Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. The numbers are in. COLA is set. We are in October of 2024, and the first payment will be realized in, well, it might be January or the end of December, depending on who you bank with and all that stuff. Credit unions and not-for-profit type of institutions will typically pay you sooner. Let that money come through to you. Where if you work with a traditional bank, usually they'll wait till the last minute and then give you your money. So with the holidays and all that stuff, you're looking at either the end of December or beginning of January. That's when you're going to realize this COLA, cost of living adjustment, effectively the pay raise. Now, anytime you hear any sort of increase for Social Security due to COLA, that is mirrored by the VA. Every year, there has to be legislation that gets pushed through that allows the VA to mirror the COLA that's established by Social Security. So we've made it through July, August, September. Those numbers are all in. The CPIW was used comparison to last year, and now we come up with the number. The headline here is Social Security Administration announces a 2.5% cost of living adjustment for 2025. Now, here's the thing. Do we think that's enough? Of course not. But at the same token, it's better than nothing, right? Better than a stick in the eye, better than a zero. But it's still not, in my opinion, and many others, not enough to actually combat inflation. And to be honest with you, by the time we hit January or the end of December, costs are going to rise even more than what this number was supposed to help with. So there's that. The idea here at this point is now you know. Here it is. Do you agree with it? Now, let's set dollars aside for a minute and how you fund things and all of that. That's not for us to figure out. What we're going to figure out is this good enough? If it's not, then what we need to do is we actually need to push on our congressional members. Why? Because there is legislation out there that calls for a different way to calculate COLA, the cost of living adjustment. The COLA would be calculated utilizing the CPI-E instead of the CPI-W. This would warrant about 0.5%, 1/4%, 0.5% more per year. Doesn't sound like much on its face, but go year over year over year over year of adding on top of itself, well, you're compounding interest then, and that's always a great thing. So keep that in mind and reach out to your congressional members. Let them know your thoughts. The Senior Citizens League is very much involved with those types of conversations about how the inflation is doing this while the cost of living adjustments are doing this. Sure, they're both going upward, but the difference between them is growing year over year over year. One of the bills that are out there to change how COLA is calculated is the Fair COLA for Seniors Act. Would be one of them. Does it have to be that one? No, it could be anything. The bottom line is that we need to start rattling cages. If you ever talk to anybody who has been on Social Security and or VA benefits, and that's their sole incomes, right, for a period of 10 years or so, or longer, and ask them if they feel like they have the same purchasing power from then to then, right? And the answer is no. And if you're not in that position because you're working and you have other things going on, that's great, good for you. But eventually you're going to be in that position of that's your only income. And so let's try to work together to fix that. Let's jump into this article a little bit. Hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. This is on CNBC.com. I'm sharing it with you here today, which is Thursday, 10/10/2024, the release date of the CPI and the actual cost of living. So more than 72.5 million Americans will see a 2.5% cost of living adjustment to benefit payments in 2025, the Social Security Administration announced Thursday. With the change, Social Security retirement benefits will increase about $50 per month on average starting in January, according to the agency. The Social Security Administration first announced the change on Thursday morning via its press office feed on X and confirmed the news to CNBC by phone. The Social Security cost of living adjustment for 2025 is the lowest annual increase since 2021, when beneficiaries saw a 1.3% increase to benefits. In recent years, COLA have been larger in response to record high inflation. While the cost of living adjustment for 2024 was 3.2%, beneficiaries saw the highest increase in 4 decades in 2023 with the 8.7% increase, and in 2022 we had that 5.9%, which many people have already forgotten about. Moving on, now that the pace of inflation has come down, the cost of living adjustments are more average. The Social Security's annual benefit increases have averaged about 2.6% over the past 20 years, according to the Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan senior group. The COLA is a vital component of Social Security, ensuring older Americans have inflation-protected sources of income. Moving on here, the adjustment means older Americans will receive needed relief to help better afford essential items from groceries to gas. Moving on, it says here, even with this adjustment, many older Americans may find it hard to pay their bills amid persistent higher prices, she said. For about 40% of older Americans, Social Security is their primary source of income, according to the AARP. Now, again, I'm going to throw out there that if we are quiet, nothing will ever change. And I get it. Look, there's a huge issue with regard to how you're even going to fund it. The solvency of Social Security is a whole other ball of wax. Obviously, we need to rein in spending somewhere, right? You guys can pick, not my space, but rein in spending somewhere and tackle the things we need to tackle for the citizens of this country, right? Let's rein in spending. Let's take care of Social Security for everyone who's paid into it, who might not get the full percentages back. And let's figure out a way to actually create a COLA, cost of living adjustment, an actual pay increase that reflects the true inflation that we're realizing. It really is frustrating when they take a snapshot of 3 months, call that good, establish the COLA percentage, and then not even pay it out for another 3 months into the future as inflation continues to rise. So by the time you've gotten the actual increase, it's already been eroded, which it just drives me nuts. I really don't. I mean, I don't know. Another side note, since I'm on a little bit of a rant, is for anybody who hung on to the end, thank you, is that the VA had the ability or has the ability to change other, and I don't know what they calculate, how they get it, how they manufacture it, but it is due to CPI, Consumer Price Index, the percentage increases for Chapter 35 and Veterans Readiness and Employment. They boosted both of those 3.2% effective now, October 1st of 2024. So the monetary benefit of those two benefits, the monetary aspect, the subsistence allowance and housing allowance from those two, or I guess it's not a housing allowance, subsistence allowance, and I don't know what they call it on the Chapter 35. It's a stipend. Those two dollar figures got increased 3.2% due to CPI data. So, I don't know. 3.2 there, and you get 2.5 here. Last year, since I'm still on this, those two programs got a 6.2, while we realized a 3.2 on the benefit side. So there's a discrepancy here, and the Senior Citizens League calls out this discrepancy with regard to you're utilizing a CPI that tracks the spending of young working people for a benefit that is typically non-working people that are older. Doesn't make any sense. So with that, anyway, we'll let it go. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.